It's all good, all good. Happy to see you. How's everything, Stu? All good?
Yeah, yeah, all really good. Baby is keeping me awake routinely every night without fail. He doesn't let me down. So yeah, it's all good. So
Hey,
it's quiet now though.
that's being a dad, right? It's never easy, huh?
No, no, right? Yeah. So yeah, a bit of quiet time, a little bit of quiet time, but no, really looking forward to this. CLIL. Oh, wow. We're going to have a big hour ahead of us, Mike. I'm really looking forward to it. And we've already got so many guests here with us. So hopefully loads of questions are going to come our way today. And yeah, it's going to be action packed.
Yes, it's time to say a little hello to all of you. Give a little surprise today to Ibita Sam. A big shout out to her uh, because really she is here every time. And when she misses one, she always say, "Oh, sorry, guys, I couldn't be here." It's like, it's all good. It's all good. She's adorable. Thank you, Ibita Sam, for being here. We got some people having fun, I guess, right here, huh? Anyway, welcome. I'm gonna say hello, mom, and bonjour. Yes, we had the subtitle in French for the intro, for the beginning of the video. Bonjour, maman. Je te fais plein de gros bisous. You got to know that my father is a teacher. Proud to be a teacher. We are the you know happy to be a teacher, right? Okay, habit is just going on with Mr. English for all over. Hi, very welcome again. Uh, as well, let me check out again. Uh, hey, we got Noah Smith. Very welcome. Uh, Joe, Jonah Nona. Very nice name.
Great
But I
name.
got no idea what it means. Sorry. My Arabic is not good. I can try with Spanish. Bienvenido, mucho gusto. Like last time. All right. That's cool. Thank you, everyone. As well, I'm checking a little bit on. Oh, cool. Let me know where you're from. That's awesome. We get nothing is impossible on. Where is it? He's from India. Sam from India on Instagram right there. Hi, Mike. Are you in China? Yes, I am in China, but Stu is in UK, is in Britain. So that's quite awesome. The techniques today, the technology is really incredible. Hello, sir. Hi, guys. Hello, everyone. Everyone saying hello on Instagram. Feel free on TikTok as well. Say hello. Tap on the screen. You know the rules of the game right there. And Facebook as well. Feel free to say hello. I think, yeah. All right. That's pretty much it for everyone. And then, yes, if you leave questions, what's going to happen today, Stu?
Yeah, so we've got a giveaway today. So if you leave
Wow.
questions, yeah, if you leave questions and comments, keep things busy and stay active throughout. We're going to be giving some cool stuff away today. So one of the giveaways today is the big book of classroom warmers and games. It's I wrote that book maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. Super popular book, and it's got 80 different games that you can play in your classroom with your students using either the whiteboard or materials that are normally in your classroom. So let's say I don't know, you're teaching about toys, or teaching about sports, teaching about the weather. There's games in there that you can play to get your students to practice that language in really fun ways. And you can add one into your class every single week. You've got nearly 2 years of games in there. So we're going to be giving that away today.
Awesome. Thank you, Stu. And that's will be toward the end, of course, close to the end. Before we leave, we'll lift the giveaway for everyone. And I add my first ebook, Lessons They Love, is the name of my ebook, where it's a guide for teachers who wants to mix a little bit of old traditional teaching ways and new, blended learning, new technology. With my ebook as well will be for a second giveaway. We're going to make two people happy today. Isn't that?
Awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to this. I feel energy today, Mike. I think we're both feeling the vibes today. Lots of energy going on.
Yes, it's never easy because we changed the time. It was originally on Sunday night, 9 p.m. But thank you so much to all of you for following us, even if it's a Saturday, 6 p.m. in here in Beijing, in China. For all other people, might be early morning or close to l'apéritif, the appetizer before lunch. So that's great. Thank you, everyone. Sounds good. We can see all your comments right here today. Let's go and talk about CLIL, right?
Yep, here we go. CLIL. Wow, something I had not heard of. Something I had not heard of until about 3 or 4 years ago. This was a new one for me. Yeah. So what is CLIL? So basically, CLIL is content and language integrated learning.
Great.
Yeah, there you go. So content and language integrated learning. So you've got like content here, and you've got language, and you don't separate them, you merge them. But okay, so first things first, what do I mean by content? Because every TEFL class has content, right? Of course, but this is a different type of content. This is content which isn't traditionally in the language classroom. Mathematics, history, geography, biology, chemistry, these kind of subject content. So normally, if you go into you're teaching in a primary school, you're teaching in a secondary school, you're a TEFL teacher, you might go in there and you teach your TEFL classes, right? And then after 45 minutes, the bell goes, the students leave, and they go and have their history class or whatever. This CLIL merges both of them. So you might be teaching history in English to people who don't speak English as their first language. It's really common to see this in like kind of bilingual schools. So if you're teaching in a bilingual school, there are subjects that are taught in the first language of that country. And there's also, you've got your CLIL classes. So you teach the content of the subjects, maths, biology, chemistry, history, geography, social sciences, in English. So you merge the both. So it's content and language integrated learning. This is what it is. And yeah, as you can see on the screen, it's got a dual focus. So, and it balances subject learning of what you're, whatever you're teaching, with the language development. Over time, the students will learn the content as well as learning English in general. So they're able to talk about history or maths or biology or whatever in English, but they're also improving their English overall level as well. And this is the whole idea of CLIL.
Right. Sounds really really interesting. And the thing is, how to implement that CLIL. What is? I mean, there's different steps how to implement this in the classroom. That's what maybe a lot of people would be asking about, right? I'm going to go to this. Here's the framework, right? The 4 C's.
Yeah, so you've got well, first before we jump into the 4 C's, which is like the core idea of CLIL. Normally, normally a school will take on CLIL as a as what's the word for it? It's just part of their structure. It's part of their syllabus that they're implementing.
Okay.
It won't just be you. It'll be kind of school wide. It'll be like a something that they do. Yeah, but you've got the 4 C's. Okay, so the 4 C's are central to CLIL. So what is that? So basically, the first C is the content. What are you going to be teaching? So normally this could be, if you're teaching biology, it might be about plants, for example, the life cycle of plants, going from a seed, germination into a sapling, leaves grow, there's photosynthesis. So you've got this specialized content, but you're teaching it in English rather than, for example, Chinese or Spanish or Dutch or whatever. This is the idea. So the first C is the content. The most important thing is the content. Second is communication, teaching the language that students are going to need to understand and talk about what they're learning. So
would be
sorry, Mike, go on.
Would be maybe part of the objectives, maybe when you do
Absolutely.
lesson plan or stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the lesson objective, the month objective, the year objective, to boost communication in English. That's the point of CLIL, is to improve English, but also, of course, learn the actual content of the subject itself. So
Great,
yeah. So you're using English as a tool for your learning and your interaction. So students are practicing their speaking, listening, reading, and writing all around the content. So the second one is your communication. So the first C is your content. The second is communication. Third is cognition. So this goes a bit deeper. So you might be, have you heard of Bloom's taxonomy? So Bloom's taxonomy is it's on 6 levels, and you basically, it's kind of quite central within CLIL, and you're taking what you're learning in the class and you're taking it deeper. You're finding your reasoning with what you're learning, and you are really thinking critically about what you're learning. Really mulling it over in your brain, and you're going up in these levels. It's called Bloom's taxonomy. Very, very worth kind of checking out. So you've got your cognition, problem solving, analyzing, ordering, real kind of processing information. So this is the third C. First C, let's go back: content, what you're learning, communication, cognition. The fourth is culture. So you are normally in a bilingual situation. You might be working with students from different backgrounds, different cultures. You might be in a different country, different to your own, for example, China. And you need to develop cultural awareness and cultural connections, global connections, and different perspectives in the CLIL syllabus. So these are the 4 C's, yeah.
Culture, really interesting one. I use a lot that culture part in my class, because it goes, especially teaching French, or it goes along for understanding the language sometimes. Why do you use this especially
Yeah,
especially in China, even more in China, because it's so 2 different worlds, right? So the culture is really important, and I usually start with, in my class, in the unit, I will usually start with the culture part. Okay, we're gonna talk. That's more interesting than going right to the vocabulary. So you might tell a little story, or maybe telling some real facts about French people, and so that make it fun, and kids get engaged in that. So that's part of. I like to start with the culture, for sure.
Well, yeah, you're making learning real, and you're making learning human. That's it. In the West, it's very multicultural, but in China, it's very monocultural. Everyone there is kind of from the very kind of same backgrounds. It's very, very monocultural in China. So, and lots of these students have never left China. They don't know what other countries are like using other languages. They haven't really heard languages in their life. For us walking around the street, we hear different languages all the time, but China is a different case. So if you're there in China, by talking about stuff like this, giving anecdotes, telling stories, you're giving language a purpose that's more than just passing a test.
Exactly. I'll go to the next.
Yeah. So
because the 3 C's. This one is
Yeah. So,
Benefits.
so I think before we talk about the benefits of CLIL, I just want to maybe talk about my own experience with CLIL. Okay, because
Okay.
for me it was a new thing. I had been living and working in Xi'an in China for years. I was there for years. Me and Mike, we're from the same city in China, and I've been working there for years, doing ELT, writing ELT materials, doing a whole career around TEFL. And then a job came up at a local bilingual school, and they wanted a classroom teacher. So I wanted to kind of move back into the classroom because I was quite office based, and I moved back into the classroom, and they were using CLIL, and I had never really heard of CLIL before. Right, what is CLIL? I need to find this out. And for me, it was really, really fascinating. So I was for the first time, rather than just using like an ELT textbook with this very functional language, functional vocabulary, standard stuff that all of the TEFL teachers watching this will be familiar with, Macmillan, Pearson, Cambridge,
Oh,
these
yeah.
books,
Yeah.
right? They didn't have any of that, and they said, right, we're not going to be using textbooks. We're going to make our own syllabus, and that was new for me as well. And I found myself teaching history, which I love history. I'm a history nerd. I read books about history all the time, and now I had to teach history to Chinese students who had quite limited English. How are you going to do that?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what CLIL is, teaching this content, which can be quite specialized in the language, in their second language. So you have to change things. You have to dumb it down. You have to, instead of using really complex language, how can I simplify this? How can I scaffold this for my students? How can I make this digestible for students? So yeah, it took quite a lot of thinking, and I really enjoyed it. So I found myself teaching history. I found myself teaching biology, a little bit of chemistry, and it was really, really awesome. Yeah, really awesome. And
You can do it all.
you can, and it gave, as an educator, I thrived in it because this was like teaching new stuff. I've taught present perfect a million times. I've taught past continuous a million times, but this was something new for me, and I loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing a bit of your experience. I think it's very beneficial for people in the chat. Feel free to leave your question, guys. Yeah.
It gives context to this live stream. This is a real thing. It actually gets used. We've used it, and it does work. It does work. So, but what are the benefits of CLIL? So you've got real exposure to target language. Okay, so this isn't like in a textbook where you might learn, how to buy a train ticket, and then you're not going to be buying a train ticket for the next 5 years. It's like, this is like kind of you're learning English through content, and so you can just increase your knowledge about life and about experiences and about just general education through English. And importantly, when let's say you're learning vocabulary, one important thing when you're teaching vocabulary, you need to try to make it relevant, and you need to try to put it into context. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So instead of like teaching, like say cup, you can say like a cup of warm coffee, cup of hot coffee. You can really like add rich language around it. And when do you drink coffee? You know, do your parents drink coffee? Is coffee good for you? And you're using this vocabulary in very real kind of situations. And so through CLIL, you can be using this vocabulary, and instead of just saying the word photosynthesis, and the students looks at it on on a word list on a page, photosynthesis, noun. You know, you're like, right, okay, next. You're never going to remember that. You're never going to remember the word photosynthesis on a word list. There's no way. But if you're talking about right. So if you're talking about photosynthesis as part of a CLIL lesson, you're making posters about photosynthesis. You're working together. You're collaborating as a team. You're drawing a picture of the sun, like shining rays on the leaves. This is CLIL. And then at the end of the lesson, you're going to remember photosynthesis, and you're not only going to remember the word, you're going to understand the process of photosynthesis as well, all in English, not within your first language. So that's like an example of CLIL. Yeah, it's really good. Because you're communicating with the teacher, you're communicating with your peers, you're processing the language all of the time. It improves your fluency and your ability to speak about it, your ability to understand what you hear when others are talking about it around you. You know, photosynthesis, sunlight, and you can hear it and you understand it. So it improves all of your skills as well.
As well, students want to ask questions. Because it's going to be more related in context. So they might think, oh, yes, how would I say, give me a coffee, please? We were on the coffee, right? Or we'll say, I want my coffee, you know, that not too, what is the word?
Yeah, not too strong, not too strong. Yeah. That's it. So you are curious about language. You know, if you're trying to make a poster as part of a team, and your team needs a word, the student can come around and lend support, lend feedback. Other students you can encourage students to help each other, teams to help each other. So students are interested. They're searching for the language that they need and finding answers. So you're teaching the language and the content. That's it. Yeah, and the critical thinking. This is part of like the Bloom's taxonomy thing, where students really think deeply about what is going on with the language and with the content. You know, why? You know, how do leaves turn sunlight into energy? You know, and they're really like thinking deeply about it, and then you can give them the language that they need to fill the gaps. That's it.
Exactly.
And at the bottom there, Mike, yes, seamless language acquisition. Language learning happens organically through engaging subject matter. So because the content, say it's history or geography, cities around the world, different religions, because of the interesting content, you're able to bring in really interesting language that the students need in able to talk about the content and to take in the content. So you've got this is where the integration, content and language integrated learning. This is the integration.
CLIL versus traditional language learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
increases exposure to the target language, right? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So you've got traditional language learning. You know, you're in a class. You're using the whiteboard. Just what we do, right? What we've been doing for years. Right. Traditional language teaching, TEFL teaching. So how is CLIL different for that? So it provides more context. I think this is the most important thing. You're providing. Let's say you're learning about let's say you're talking about the American, revolution. Okay. kicking the Brits out, rightly so. Let's say you're learning about that. So you're learning about the history of that. You're learning about the people, the events, the dates, what happened, why it happened, what did that lead to? So you've got all of this amazing content, and you're learning it in English. So the vocabulary that you're using, it's in context, because it's not just like a word list. I hate word lists. You know, if I could get rid of anything in English teaching, it would be word lists, you know. So we get rid of the word lists, and we actually use that vocabulary in meaningful situations that they're able to talk about, make projects about, make mini books, make put posters on the walls to display their work. They can talk about it, they can present it. Yeah, that's it. That's the difference between traditional language teaching and traditional language learning and CLIL.
Teachers, I think it's more interesting for everyone. I think it is.
I mean, it definitely was for me. You know, I got a chance to teach about. I'm not just a TEFL teacher. I'm a guy with different, you know, different interests and hobbies. You know, and by teaching CLIL, like for history, I love history. I love science. I'm really interested in the science. You know, when I was in China at the bilingual school, I got to talk about, you know, how stars were formed. For example, it was one of the topics that we did. How stars were formed. I'm a super geek, you know, away from the, you know, TEFL. You know, I love science, and I was able to bring my passion for that subject and combine it and integrate it with language teaching. Dreamland, you know. I loved it. And I think because I was so passionate about it, and I think that probably, I hope, spilled over.
No, exactly.
Too.
When you get that passion into, you know, diversity in diverse kind of subjects, you know. Well, I'm not much fan of math for sure, but no, for sure. Speaking, I would love to have that experience, you know, teaching like about astronomy, or that would be like, well, of course, it's not going to be too deep teaching about this, but it's according to their vocabulary, I guess, in English, right? Teaching this for them to, like teaching business English, for example, that would be as well the same.
Yeah.
And they would be really interesting in doing it too. Yeah.
Ibtisam's asked a really important question, which so what are the challenges facing CLIL, or, you know, what are the challenges for teachers, what are the challenges for students for CLIL? Yeah, it's a real thing. Now, you're probably thinking, Ibtisam, you know, how could you talk about the universe and how stars are made with students with limited English, right? And this was a real problem, and it was a real problem that I actually had, because I had to teach about photosynthesis. That was one of the topics that were made. How is coal made? It's crushed. Trees fall down, they go under the ground, they crush, heat, pressure, time, how a star's formed, and lots of the students didn't understand it. That's one of the things. So this was a big challenge for me. Some of the students got it, other students really didn't get it, you know, or the vocabulary was just too above them. They weren't ready for it. So this is a big challenge. In fact, Mike, if you go through, there's a slide about the challenges. I think maybe the next slide or the slide after.
Not sure with the number.
Yeah, so try 7 or 8. Yeah, 7. There you go. Yeah, so these are the challenges. So yeah, we'll go through this now. So for me, I had students who found it very difficult. What really should have happened is that they were moved to a different class where they could just learn maybe standard stuff or really heavily simplified stuff. We didn't have the teachers for it. We didn't have the rooms for it. We couldn't do it. So I had to just have those students that were really struggling. Some of them couldn't read very well. So they also couldn't really read the book that clearly. So it was tough. But yeah, I just had to scaffold. I had to differentiate. So I made like different worksheets where, you know, maybe they had to like join a picture with the word, or for the lower level students, I had like 3 different things to do within every class. So it was like the easier stuff, medium stuff, and the higher stuff, and students could pick. What really should have happened is that they were moved to a different class where they could just learn maybe standard stuff or really heavily simplified stuff. We didn't have the teachers for it. We didn't have the rooms for it. We couldn't do it. So I had to just have those students that were really struggling. Some of them couldn't read very well. So they also couldn't really read the book that clearly. So it was tough. But yeah, I just had to scaffold. I had to differentiate. So I made like different worksheets where, you know, maybe they had to like join a picture with the word, or for the lower level students, I had like 3 different things to do within every class. So it was like the easier stuff, medium stuff, and the higher stuff, and students could pick. So I did that. So that is a challenge of CLIL. 100% hypnotism is that you get students who linguistically aren't ready for CLIL. It just blows them away, and they can get left behind. So you have to be ready for it. Think ahead. Will Jack be able to handle this? No.
I think
Right. What am I going to do?
Yeah. I think the teacher can scale it. I mean, keep on cropping. You get the big picture. Well, I guess the school has, I mean, you always have objectives, right? But the schools has to have their students at the level. But I guess you still have maybe to crop the big picture of the curriculum, and then try to find what is the most important thing for them, so that they don't feel so, overwhelmed, or maybe they don't understand it.
Yeah, that's it. So you get hey Cuba, so you get so you don't feel left behind, because students don't want to be left behind. They feel crap about being left behind. They feel stupid. They lose their confidence. They don't want to be there. So make it achievable for students. Make sure you're creating work for them that they can achieve and feel good about themselves, and turn that situation for that particular student. So another one is training of teachers about CLIL. I mean, I'd never done CLIL before, but for me, I was an experienced teacher. I had 20 years of classroom experience. I could pick it up pretty easily, for other teachers, they might need a bit more support and time in their training. So this is a challenge of CLIL. Who's going to do that? Is there someone in the school that is designated to do that, or will they just push you in and sink or swim? Developing materials is time consuming. I had to develop all of the textbooks for each each semester. So I had to make like 3 textbooks per year for each grade. Each textbook was about 80 pages, all full of activities. I had to do that by myself. That is an issue with CLIL. It's the training, and it's time consuming making these specialist materials. Yeah.
Strategies
yes,
of
scaffolding.
Scaffolding is one of the strategies of CLIL. Right? One of the first one.
Yeah, it's one of the strategies of CLIL. It's one of the strategies of normal language teaching, or any kind of teaching. Scaffolding. How are you going to support your student? Excuse me. So when you're teaching, always try to teach. Let me get a pen. Right, I'm going to write out a formula. Okay, so it's I plus 1. Now, if you can remember this formula, so you've got I plus 1. Okay, I hope that's showing the right way. So I is what you're teaching, what their level is, what your student's level is, and what you're teaching, plus a little bit. So when you're teaching, wherever you're teaching, try to make your material and try to teach very slightly above where they currently are. This is what this means. Okay, so when you're scaffolding, make sure that you're choosing material that is I plus 1, that you're teaching in I plus 1, and this is so you're supporting their learning, you're structuring your learning, giving feedback, making sure that when your students there's error correction, time for error correction. There's time when you're looking at their writing, and if you're marking their homework, give them the help that they need to get better, to understand the mistakes that they're making, how to improve. This is scaffolding, how to differentiating your teaching, making easier tasks, medium tasks, harder tasks that are student-centered. This is all scaffolding, okay? Yeah. So
like English.
yeah, in the comments, a lot of
saying, he would say, they don't explain this, right? But for us experienced teachers, it's a habit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is this is something that you get better at over the years that you're in the classroom. And lots of courses just don't teach it, or if they do, they just quickly cover it and then move on, right? So it's something that comes through experience. Finally, assessment. How do you assess? How do you separate? Let's say you've been teaching about the American independence. Okay, let's say you're teaching about American independence. How do you assess that? Are you assessing their knowledge of the American War of Independence, or how do you assess their language improvement? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Are they? How do you actually assess that? Okay,
they have both of it, but maybe both of it cannot be at the same level, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, like natives.
Okay,
would do
that's
that.
it. So the war, like Independence Day, 1776, the student gets that answer wrong.
Yeah.
Does that mean that they haven't been improving at English? It doesn't. Maybe their English has really gotten good, but they got that question wrong. So how do you assess it? So you have to be smart in how you assess as well. So otherwise, your data is going to be everywhere. So this is another challenge of CLIL.
Interesting. I might come back to. I think we were on 5th.
6. We were 6. Go to 6.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
Yeah, that was about scaffolding.
So,
that was that one. Thanks to
Yeah, that's it.
English
So
Forever. Oh no, for all over.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, good buddy, good buddy of mine, English Forever as well. He's a China legend. He's been in China for a long time as well. So scaffolding, supporting your learners. So visuals, body language, simplifying the language as well. So do you need to have really complex language to discuss things with L2 in L2? No, you don't. Simplify the language, make it achievable, make it understandable. Code switching. Now this is code switching.
Code
So
switching.
basically, yeah, you can move from L1 to L2 and backwards and forwards. When I started as a teacher, we were told to never, ever, ever speak the L1, or always just speak in English. And if the students don't get
To
it,
make
just
sure everyone understands, L1 means their own language, their mother language.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so if you're teaching in Brazil, so their L1 would be Portuguese, and L2 would be English if they're learning English. So I was taught never ever use the L1, and I was trained for it. And now I'm an experienced teacher. I have no problem in using Chinese in the classroom. If the students don't understand, quickly explain something in Chinese and then move back to English. It's code switching, no problem. I'm a big believer in the power of code switching. Task-based learning. So so you
awesome.
lots of projects, like make a big classroom poster about how stars are born, and you give them some cool materials,
Exactly.
glue, glitter, colors, and they can draw, label.
Yeah.
Go on, Mike.
I get my students because we were talking about the unit was about food, so that was very, very interesting in teaching French, of course, but you can do it for any other language. It's not a big deal. But we were teaching about food, and one of my project-based learning was, all right, I had two of them. One was about that they create a menu, which is quite a very famous uh, task-based learning for language, especially when you're in school, because that's the thing. Kids are old, so they are older, they are great, like 10, 11, 12. So you got to go with some stuff that they interest them. So when the unit is about food, is going to be, especially here in China, is going to be, they're going to one of my test-based learning, just to say quickly, was about them to create a menu, French menu, that they were holding. They were the owner of a bar in France, or a little pub, like we say in France, or whatever they wanted to. So create a menu, and the language that they will have to look for was about the utensils, for example, what they're going to use, or would be about the different dishes they get. That's another one about the dishes, that they going to provide. Maybe the how does it call, the elements, how they're going to do that. Another one was
right?
yeah. Yeah. Another one was another project-based learning I made was about so to put them in a context where they were in France, for in a family where they would stay, like exchange students. So they are exchange students in France, and then they had to make food for the host family, and then they had to explain in French how to make maybe, Liang Pierre or Yo Premier, all those very famous dishes in China, so that they would have to explain them and make them create that recipe, and for the family. So that one was a very funny one, because there are a lot of things like to translate in French, Chinese utensils and all stuff. So they had to put the recipe on with French words. I wasn't too much pushy, like put everything in French. I was like, yeah, at least you got to give me 10 words, from translated from Chinese to French, 10 Chinese utensil, that maybe tools, that we don't use back home, So that was really interesting. Kids love it too. That was an example of my task-based learning that are really cool. I love, and my students love it, because we don't have much pressure in our school with, especially when you are electives, and in China, you don't have much, and especially in Xi'an, not too much pressure on, midterm. We don't have proper midterm tests, or they don't have exams like they would have for math or English, right? So it's quite nice. Can test a lot of stuff, and that's what I'm doing, even testing with AI and all that stuff. But with task-based learning, it's really awesome. It's something
That's
that I
it. And
really
you
like,
make
for
it,
sure.
absolutely. So they're learning French learning language in a meaningful, fun way that they're finding interesting, and they're getting to research. They're getting to find out what these words are. Okay, how do you say flour? How do you say butter? I need to know. I'm interested. I'm searching, and that helps them to remember rather than just a word list, right? Yeah. Hey, Bilal.
Exactly.
Yeah, welcome to the live stream, Bilal. Yeah, that's it.
Very welcome, guys.
So finally, about the strategies is
Task-based learning.
Use of authentic materials.
Yeah.
So real videos.
Love it too.
We like using YouTube videos, real interesting stuff, articles, real events, it's so cool. CLIL is really a great way to teach.
So I'm gonna
let's
skip right to this is
we've done that one.
We are 8, the last one.
Wrapping it up now. So beyond the textbook, CLIL brings language learning to life with practical, hands-on content. It certainly does. So CLIL helps learners develop language naturally while engaging in meaningful content. So this is, we're just summing up now what we've been talking about for the last hour. Through the content, you are allowing real language learning opportunities, and you're making the language that they're learning make sense. Through the content that you're providing, the language makes sense. So the vocabulary makes sense. The language chunks, they're all in context. You've got really nice grammatical structures that will pop up throughout the class, and they're learning really cool stuff and engaging with each other in a different way than they would normally be engaging with each other during a normal TEFL class. You've got different opportunities to mix and move around and discuss different stuff. Basing your lesson on the content, and the language kind of develops very naturally by itself, very organic. Cool. Yeah, very.
Right here.
It's a cool way to teach, and because this
I love it.
confidence will go up. You're helping them. They're learning. They're learning the language that they're learning. They're able to use straight away in lessons. But yeah, it does have its challenges, as we talked about before. But it's been, the research is out. There's lots of research papers that you can find about CLIL. It's very popular in Europe, Spain, Holland, Finland. They use CLIL a lot, and with very, very good results. So the research is in, it does work. It's got its challenges, but it does work.
That was really awesome to know about it. Thank you very, very much too for that topic you wanted to come up. I remember this. Yeah, what about CLIL? I was like, what is that CLIL? And then I was like, 4 C's. I was like, oh yeah, I know. I was like, remember that one. Yes, for sure. We do use it in the classroom. For sure, but it's always, you don't even know, what I use, all the strategies I use in the classroom. I don't care if I put a name on it, I just do it. That's when you arrive at a kind of experience level, you're going to switch really quickly to those methods, and you don't even know what are the names.
Yeah. That's it. So yeah, just content communication, cognition, and like your culture. So called 4 C's of CLIL. Right, we've got a giveaway, Mike.
Exactly. That was awesome to know a little bit more about it. So we might ask. So we're gonna go for the giveaway now, right, everyone? So get ready. We're gonna. Well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna ask a question into like right here, right now, and the first to answer that question might is gonna have what is your book, right? Book.
Yep. So
Stu?
it's the big
Can
book
you?
of
Yeah.
class. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. So it's
Yes, yeah. I wasn't.
the big book of
Yeah,
classroom.
no, all good, all good.
We've got like a
Great.
3-second lag between us. There we go.
Yes, we do. That's the time. Yeah. So I was. I'm gonna ask a simple questions. We were talking about the 4 C's, right? So let's see. Can you give us? No. Let's see. How is so the 4 C's? We're gonna talk about the 4 C's, right? Just give us one of the 4 C's. So it starts with C.
All right, one or two of the 4 C's.
All right, here we go.
We won't torture you with all
Yeah,
three.
1 or 2 of the 4 C's. And you get that book right away. Let's see who's gonna see. We can see the who's gonna be the first. We're gonna see a pair right here. So tell us one of the 4 C's. Just write it into the chat, and the first to answer gonna have a giveaway, which is a book with and Nolan Smith. Content, right? Awesome, cool, good. So that's the first to answer was Nolan Smith, right? We gotta take screenshots, bro. All right.
Yeah.
So awesome, cool. So make sure you get a paper. You get a paper and a pen next. You get a paper and a pen with you, so you can write the names. So I don't maybe yeah. I have it right here. Congratulations, then.
Yeah. Well
Let me
done.
see
Well
she's
done.
here. All right, big shout out.
Go on, Mike. You take it away. Take away, Mike.
All right, cool. Okay, so then, yes, that's one of them. Let me see for another easy questions that I'm going to ask you, because now it's going to be I'm going to give away as well my ebook about language, lessons they love. It's a guide to help you mixing that traditional and new texts and tools. So here we go. I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Me and Stu used to be teaching in the same country. Which one? Which one? We used to be teaching in the same country. I'm still in that country, but Stu isn't now. He's back in the UK. So just say right here down below which country we used to be together. And you're going to have another ebook waiting for you to type.
Yeah, but a long
Right?
time watchers should know, I think.
Again, she's raffled everything.
Yeah,
All right. He's
Nolan's got
Nolan.
all of the raffle tickets. he's bought all the raffle tickets. Nolan actually
That's no. We're gonna make two. We said
well.
that we're gonna make two people happy, right? So sorry, Nolan, you got one. Let's someone else. Come on, someone else. Nolan, also Nolan, but we're gonna give it right to someone else. Just she's got the right answer though, so you guys know now. You can just write the answer to text
I
with
tell you what, Mike. A little sneaky one. Nolan lived in Suzhou for years, so he's got an advantage.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Hi, Nolan. Best wishes. So, guys, waiting. The next one to put that name of the country on the on the chat's gonna have the giveaway. Still a bit
Waiting
long.
for years.
Okay. No, they don't want mine. They just want all of yours. They don't want mine.
Hey!
And here we go. Yay! Awesome. So that's Loredana. Awesome. Great. Thank you, Loredana. We got have this you're gonna have everything for you this. Yes, about giveaway. Thank you, Loredana. We gotta keep in touch for sure. I'm gonna leave you my email right here. That will be easy for you to contact me. This is my email, so you can contact me right here. So you can get the giveaway, because sometimes it's difficult to keep in touch with people, and feel free to contact me right there. I'll be giving you the giveaway. And yes, there's a giveaway still as well, and that one is a big one, right? Stu, that giveaway, you've been giving away. I'm looking for the image. That's why I'm like, Stu, help. I'm just,
Yeah,
yes,
so
okay. It's going to be right here. I'm going to get it right now.
yeah, so yeah, we've got quite a few
Yes, I'm looking at it,
giveaways.
but yes, here, right here.
That's it. So for the 650,000 subscribers milestone, We're giving away different stuff, and as part of the giveaway, you'll get an accredited TEFL course. It's worth $199 US. So that's going to be given away to one lucky person. So scan the QR code and enter the giveaway.
I just put the link into the chat. It's an incredible giveaway, guys. Some people don't feel like it's, you know, that's incredible, because your course is accredited. It's a course with level 4. It's a level 4 course. Imagine that.
Course. Yeah. So we've got over 3,000. TEFL Lemon has got over 3,000 students learning with us at the moment, improving their skills for the classroom, improving their ability to teach language. So it's a full 180-hour accredited course. Once you've got that certificate, you can go anywhere around the world and teach English. Solid course, really good course, lots of really cool features. So that's part of the giveaway. Click the code and click the link, and then you'll be in the draw to win a free course.
Thank you, Stu, for today about CLIL. Can't wait to see you next week. Hope you're gonna have a good.
Absolutely.
Wish you all the best for.
Yeah.
Wish you the best for a good Sunday. Same for everyone. Thank you to all of you for following us on Instagram, TikTok, and also YouTube.